Hi everyone, it's Barry here from Mitosu Crafts. Thank you for joining me today and thank you for joining me for our Fun Fold Friday video tutorial. For today's video, I'm going to be showing you how you can create this lovely fold flat box card. So yeah, it's really simple to do, but this is what I'm going to show you how to I'm going to show you how you can recreate it yourself today. So that's the finished project. So the items I'm going to be using for today, I'm going to be using the Playing in the Rain stamp set with the Playing in the Rain dies, which is part of the Playing in the Rain bundle. So, which is this one right here. Really fun little set. You've got this, I'm going to be using this lovely little turtle here with the flower. And I'm going to be using the, may use the dies, but I may fussy cut everything out because it's easy enough to fussy cut, but you can have some lovely dies which coordinate with this, which cuts out the animals on here as well, but you've also got these other fun pieces which you can actually then build up. So if you wanted to add more to your card, you can do. So you've got some clouds, you've got some kites, you've got the bow ties, you've got some tree trunks, so you've got all sorts on here, so you can really have some fun with this one if you wanted to. So that there is the stamp set. I'm obviously going to be pairing that with the Rain or Shine Speciality Designer Series paper, which is this here. Now I can't show you all of it because we've loved it so much that we've used the majority of it, but this here, you can head over to our online shop, so just head over to mitosucrafts.com and you can then have a little click on there for our online shop, and if you just type in the Rain or Shine Speciality paper, then you'll be able to see all of them on there as well. But this is some of the paper which we've got remaining, so I'm going to be using this one here, and I'm going to be using this one here, but I'm going to use this back side here. It's really pretty. One side here is got this lovely kind of like foiling shiny effect to it, so really nice, and that there goes through the entire paper. You've got one side which has got no kind of like shiny bits to it, and then you've got these nice shiny bits to the other side. So that's the one which I'm going to be using paired with those flowers on that one. And instead of stamping and die cutting and colouring, I've decided to just use a Designer Series paper because these are easy enough to fussy cut out, but the dies do coordinate with these animals here as well. But I'm going to fussy cut these ones out. So that there is one side, and then you've got some other patterns the other side. But there is a lot more patterns in the paper, but like I say, we've loved it so much that we've used it all, so I can't show it all to you, but like I say, head over to our website. I'm also going to be using the let's have a look. I'm going to be using the Celebrating You stamp set because I'm going to turn this into a birthday card here, so I'm loving this, but happy birthday sentiment here from the Celebrating You. And I'm also going to do a little bit of die cutting with the Stylish Shape dies. So they're the stamp set and the dies which you'll need. As for inks, you're just going to need a little bit of Memento for stamping your sentiment, and I'm going to colour the sentiments with some Old Olive Light, some Daffodil Delight Dark, some Calypso Coral Light, Balmy Blue Light, and Flirty Flamingo Light. So there's some blends which I'm just going to colour in just to highlight the sentiment a little bit. So that's those. Obviously you'll just need your basic stuff as well, which you'll need some snips. You will need a trimmer because we're going to be doing some scoring on this as well. But I'll run through the cardstock now for you. Okay, so you will need, for the card base, you will need a piece of basic white thick. Now this is measuring 8¼ inches by 6 inches. You will need another piece of basic white thick here measuring 3 inches by, 3 inches by 2 inches. Okay, that looks quite big actually. I'm going to have to just check my measurements on that one. And then you will need 3 pieces here measuring 1/7/8 by 2/3/8, and you will need 3 of those, and you will need 1 piece of Designer Series paper. I just realised what I've done. 1 piece of Designer Series paper here measuring 1/7/8 by 5/7/8. That bit of paper there is for my sentiment. This here is the 3x2. I thought something looked large. So this is 3 inches by 2 inches here. So that's what you would need, and then you will need a piece here for your sentiment. So okay, so that's all the cardstock. We will take our trimmer. Oh, you will also need some window sheets as well, or some acetate. So you will need probably about 3 or 4 of these. And they are measuring however long you want them to be by around about 1/2 inch. You can't really see them there. but they're there. All right, so you will need for about 4 of those, or however many you want to actually put on it. So that's just an optional thing with the amount which you need. So just have some acetate or window sheets available as well. Let's pop everything to one side, and what we're going to do is we're going to be working on this big piece right here first. So we are just going to do some scoring now, and we're going to score this along the long edge at 2 inches, 4 inches, 6 inches, and 8 inches. Okay. And then we're going to then turn this onto the short edge, and then we're going to then score this at 3.5 inches. Okay, so that was 2, 4, 6, 8, and then on this side here at 3.5. Whilst we've got the trimmer out, what we will do is we will have the other piece of basic quite thick, the one which was measuring at 3 by 2, and we are just going to then score this at 1/2 inch on both sides. So 1/2 inch there, rotate it round, and then do the same thing again. And that's all your scoring done for this card. We will need to do some cutting again in a moment, but we will come back to that. So with our cutting, what we want to do is we want to remove, you've got this tiny little rectangle at the top here. We want to remove that whole thing. So we probably better off, you can either use your snips or you can use your trimmer. What we know is we need to cut down this score line here, the smaller score line of the two, down to the score line which is going here. So it's better, if you want to, you can pop it either into your trimmer again, and you can cut this at, you know, it's done at 2, so you can then use your trimmer and go to 2 inches down to the score line, then move yourself over to 4 inches down to your score line, or you can do this with snips, 6 inches down to your score line, and then 8 inches down to that score line. Okay, so you can see now you've created some 4 tabs. Then what you can do with your snips is we can then just remove this whole piece here and just kind of like just notch it in, just so it's creating a little tab inside. What we want to do is now fold and burnish all of this. So we're going to fold on all of the score lines. Okay, and that tab as well. And that's kind of going to create your box. And then with these ones here, you want to then fold back 3 of them. So the one which has got the one which is closest to the tab, that's going to be the back of your box. So you don't want to be folding that one, okay? But you want to be doing this one here, this one, and that one. Okay, so it's like that as you're looking at it. Tabs here, that one there. Whatever's going to be your back, you don't want to fold. If you do fold it, it's not an issue because you're going to be sticking paper over it anyway, and then you can pop something on the back for your sentiment. It will reinforce it. But if you don't fold it, it just reinforces it straight away. All right, so just fold and burnish those pieces like so. And that there is our box. What we can do now is we can then stick our designer series paper onto the outside. So we can go onto that one, and that one. Just make sure that you're sticking it to the right part, because a lot of people, because this is now what would technically be the inside of the card, but because we're folding it back on itself, it is now going to be the outside of the card. So just be aware of that when you're doing that. And then we can then stick this one here to the inside of the card as well. Okay, so there we have it. So that there, once we stick this down, we'll then create the box. You can see how simple that is. We now just need to just put some glue on this tab, so a little bit of glue on this tab. And then just bring 2 of them over, stick it to that tab, and then you know you've got yourself a square card, basically. Alright, so what we now need to do is we need to put some supports on the inside, and this is where this piece here, the 3x2 piece, remember we've done this 3x2 and we scored it at 1/2 inch on all sides. What we need to do now is we just now need to cut this at 5/8 of an inch, and then we'll do another one at 5/8 of an inch, and then whatever size that last one is, it's a little bit bigger, but it's fine. We just want to create ourselves 3 little pieces right here, and then just fold and burnish those lines on all of those. There we have it. Now we just want to stick this into the thing. So this is where it's going to be a little bit tricky for some of you. I know it is for me as well a little bit, but don't use too much glue. I'll pop a little bit of glue on here. You can see that's the amount of glue which I've used, and you want to push this into the back and push it up against the back, and just try your best just to get it to the top and just hold it in place. And we're just doing it on one side at the moment. Well, don't worry about doing the glue on the other side just yet. Let's get one side stuck. So you can see how I've done that. If need be, just so that's butted up against the side in there. Now what you can do is, once that's set, you can just grab yourself a little bit of glue again here, and tiny little bit of glue on that tab, and then carefully making sure you don't rub glue along the side here, because otherwise the whole thing will stick itself closed. And then we'll just pop that down like that, and then if you want to, you can then fold it flat, just so it then goes both sides, and you know you're going to, then the card is folding flat, and then that sticks. So that's your first strut done, and just repeat that now for exactly the same technique for the other 2. I hope that made sense, but you can see now you've got those 3 struts have gone in there. If I put my hand at the bottom, you can see what they're looking like. So basically just butted them up against, and that one went against the back, that one then butted up against the next one, and that one butted up against that. Therefore it's kind of like giving you kind of equal little sections here, and this is what we're going to be using our acetate for. Okay, so we are going to grab our little acetate pieces and we are going to stick some stuff on. So I'm going to just do a bit of fussy cutting first. So I've already got a few pieces which I've already fussy cut out, which I need, and then I'm just going to fussy cut these 2 pieces out here. So just sit back and relax whilst I just cut these out quickly. So there we have it. There is my die cut element. So you can probably start, I decided to die cut this one, fussy cut the smaller one, and then I've got some fussy cut clouds, and I've got some fussy cut flowers there, all from the DSP. But you can remember, you can stamp these as well if you've got the stamp set, and then colour them in, so it's entirely up to you. So what we need to do now is stick them on. So I found this easier if you've got yourself some tape runner. So I'm going to use some Stampin' Seal Plus here, and what we're going to do is we are going to stick one of these, so pop some seal on here, and then we can then stick that one to the top like so, and then we can then do that for all of these. So like I say, it depends on how many pieces you want to, elements you want to pop in, will depend on how many bits of window sheet you've got. So there we have that there, and then the final piece. And if you stick them all on quite quickly, it makes it easier to find where your window sheets are because they have now got something attached to it. Alright, so that's those pieces. So we're going to start at the back, so it's a matter of just popping this in, so having a little look at where you want it. Try not to come too above the top of the card, and you just want to now think about where it's going to go, and then pop some more of this seal at the back where you want it to be. Okay, and then you can then stick that on like that there. Okay, and you can see then that then has, if you come up a little bit, if you come down, you can, as long as you don't stick it down too much straight away, you do have yourself a little bit of wiggle room. You can take it off and just kind of seal things up a little bit like that, just to seal it in place. Just be careful of any glue which may be on the back, because obviously that is then going to then show through, and once the card's flat it's then going to stick it. So you may just need to just be aware of that, or just pop some detacking stuff on this and some powder just to remove it if you've gone a little bit too high. Then we're going to do exactly the same for the next one. So I just need to have a little look at where I want these to go. So I can either go like this here, and then I kind of want that one there. So you may not necessarily need to have that third character. I quite like it. And this one's going to be quite... so I've only just pop a little bit of glue on that. This one I want to be relatively low down. And that's gone in like that. So I've kind of, you can see I've offset it, so I've got one side and then gone the other side, and then we can then pop some flowers. Now on my original I've got the third one, which is over here, followed by some flowers which then go at the front. Okay, yeah, I'll still do the same, or shall we just have a little look? We can kind of have two lots of flowers at the front. I quite like it, I think, with just some flowers at the front there. So I may not use that one. And then we'll stick that down. You can see I'm just sticking that in onto those little tabs. So that's kind of how that there is going to be looking. And so just seal that up, so then that just glues that in place. And then what you can then do is, to finish this off, is a sentiment. So you can either pop a sentiment somewhere on any of this, but I'm going to pop it along the front right here. So the sentiment I've decided to use is the happy birthday from the, let me just get a Celebrating You stamp set. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stamp this centrally in Memento in the centre of a bit of cardstock, like so. And then I'm going to die cut this out. There is no special dies for this one here, but I'm going to be using the Stylish Shape dies. I'm going to show you a technique now of how you can adjust, because the smallest one in there is a little bit too small, and the biggest one is too big. So let's show you how we can now make this die the correct size. So bring up your cutting machine, and you basically just want to cut this as you would do ordinarily. Okay, so I'm going to use a little bit of tape, and we're going to just do it so the die is in the correct position where I want that kind of like that tail to be, and that's where I'm going to die cut it. Don't worry about the other end, which is going to be off the cardstock. That doesn't matter, we can adjust that later on. So you can see I'm going to stuck that down like that. Make sure that's central. And then run that through your machine. So you are now left with that. Then what you want to do is you want to grab your die again, and then you then just want to then kind of find it. It will sit itself back in the holes in the correct position. Label it up where you want it to be, and then do exactly the same. Just be careful that it hasn't slipped. Pop it back through your machine again and cut that out. And that there is how you turn a larger die into a custom size sentiment piece. Okay, so it's partial cutting, and you've got this lovely stitching around the outside and that as well. So do have a play with that, because like I say, the smallest one was a little bit too small for that, but the biggest one was too big. Adjusted quite nicely. So that's those pieces. And then to finish this off, all we want to do now is we just want to stick this onto our front of our card. So just pop a few dimensionals on the front, on the back here. In the centre, remember, because this is going to be a little bit too big for the front here. And then we'll stick that on. But before I stick this on, I'm just going to do a little bit of colouring. Just remember I didn't do that first. So I'm going to take my blend, and I'm going to just carefully colour in all of these letters. And then just stick this on. And stick that on centrally on the front of that tab right there, like so. And that there is your fold flat box. Okay, so it just is, I think, it's a cute little box. So that's the first one which I did, where I added the additional character on here. This one here, I've kind of done it so that it's flowing a little bit better there maybe, but you can do all sorts. So you've got, obviously, you've got some other things in the dies. You could pop some kites in there, you could pop some fences, some grass could go in there as well. There's a lot which you can do. But that there is this week's Fun Fold Friday, and that there is a fold flat box. Just be aware of the tab just coming out here, just to make sure it doesn't interfere with your envelope. But that there, when I gave this away at the weekend, because I made one for Mother's Day just recently, just gone, and the sentiment was fine sticking out. So just be aware of things like that as well. Try not to go too high, and make sure everything works as you're doing it. But there we have it. There is this cute little Fun Fold gift card box. Card box. So thank you very much for watching. Do check out the rest of our videos. You can find a series of Fun Fold Friday videos. So if you're interested in Fun Folds, you can go and check out the rest of those, what we've done previously. And do check us out with the other videos which we do. We do come live to you on a Sunday evening at 7 PM UK time, and you can come and check us and come and chat with us, and potentially win one of the cards which we make as well. So do check us out if you want to come and chat to us live. But yes, thank you so much for watching. Hope you have enjoyed that, and we will see you again in a few weeks' time for another Fun Fold Friday. Take care for now. Bye bye.